So like toward the end, we started to fall into that.
Yeah, I think that kind of like nice bounce by that.
Yeah.
So like,
If I slow down,
That's when I.
oh, it was me. Oh, was it you? No, someone's wearing it. Someone's wearing it. Oh, yeah. Oh, Tim. Okay, great. Yeah, it's very particular. Yeah, I feel like you need to also get a bus.
Good morning and welcome to First Unitarian. Please rise and body or spirit as we sing We Are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the spirits of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dusk and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are.
The comedian Pete Holmes has this funny bit about life and death and the universe. He begins by saying that some people believe that God created the universe, and some people believe that nothing created the universe. But unfortunately, sometimes the nothing people make fun of the God people. They say, well, God doesn't exist. And yeah, sure, maybe God doesn't exist. But you know what definitely doesn't exist? Nothing. It's kind of the defining characteristic of nothing is that it doesn't exist. So it's either God, something you can't see, touch, taste, photograph, and science can't prove, or it's nothing, something you can't see, touch, taste, photograph, and science can't prove. But I think we can all agree that if your nothing sometimes spontaneously erupts into everything, that's a pretty magical nothing. And if you ask the nothing people what happens after you die, they'll tell you, nothing. You go into nothing. And so I'm like, you mean you merge back with your creator?
Third time's a charm. Nothing or something, sound-wise. Welcome to Memory Tree. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Rochester. Throughout the year, we gather in all ages services to celebrate the turning of the wheel. And it is around this time, each year, we gather around our memory tree. We gather the names on leaves of those who have died, those whom we have loved. We gather knowing that whether you come here grieving and mourning someone yourself, or simply you're here because you care about the people around you and want to lend your presence, or because you don't read the church newsletter and, well, you came because you didn't know what Sunday it was, but you come because it's Sunday and it is good to be together. We gather in a circle ever turning, with story and song, with spirit and presence. It is good to be together. So I invite you to join with me in our unison words. I'm going to light our chalice, and if you're joining us online, I invite you to light a chalice wherever you are. Those here in the room will encircle us with our unison words. Life is a gift.
It's a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift. My cat, Barney, died last Friday. I didn't watch TV, I didn't play any video games. At dinner, I didn't eat my chicken, and I didn't even have chocolate pudding. I just went to bed and I cried. My mother sat down and she gave me a hug. She said tomorrow that we could have a funeral for Barney in the garden under the tree. She told me to think of 10 good things about Barney to share at the funeral. I thought about good things. I thought of 9 good things, and then I fell asleep. In the morning, my mother wrapped Barney in a yellow scarf, and my father buried Barney under the tree in the garden. My friend Annie came over and she brought flowers from next door. And I told my good things about Barney. Barney was brave, I said, and smart and funny and clean. Also cuddly and handsome, and he only once ate a bird. It was sweet to think about when Barney would purr in my ear, and at night sometimes he laid on my tummy and made it feel warm. Those are all good things, my mother said, but I only count 9. I said I would try to think of another one later. At the end of the funeral, we sang Barney a song, and we couldn't remember any songs about cats, and so we sang one about a pussy willow, and even my dad knew all the words. Then Annie and I went inside for milk and cookies. I miss Barney, I told her. It's okay, she said. Barney's in heaven, drinking cream from a bowl and eating tuna out of a can. Barney's in the ground, I said. I felt mad. I knew she was trying to be nice, but I didn't like when she said that. Barney's in heaven, she said. In the ground, I said. And then my dad came in to get a cookie. I asked my dad, is Barney in the ground or in heaven? And my dad said, we don't really know where Barney is after he died. He might be in the ground and he might be in heaven, and maybe both. After that, Annie went home. My father told me he had to work in the garden, and I said I would help a little, but just a little. I told him I didn't like that Barney was dead. He said, why should I like it? It's sad, he said. He told me that I might feel a little less sad tomorrow and maybe a little less sad in a week. My father had a small packet of little brown seeds. He poured some into my hand. The ground will give them food and a place to live, he said. And soon a stem will grow and some leaves and flowers. I squeezed the packet open and I looked inside to the bottom of the packet and I told him, I don't see any leaves and I don't see any flowers in here. Things change in the ground, he said. In the ground, everything changes. Will Barney change too? I asked. Oh, yes, said my father. He'll change until he's part of the ground and part of the garden. And I asked, will he help make flowers and leaves? He will, said my father. He'll help grow the flowers and he'll help grow the tree and some grass. You know, he said, that's a pretty nice job for a cat. My father and I planted all the seeds in the garden. Mother made sandwiches and we sat and we ate them under the tree next to Barney. And after lunch, we worked in the garden some more. That night, I didn't watch any television and I didn't play video games again. When I turned out the light to go to sleep, my mom came and sat on my bed. She gave me a hug, and I said I had something to tell her. Listen, I said, I told you the good things about Barney. Barney was brave, I said, and smart and funny and clean. Also handsome and cuddly, and he only once ate a bird. It was sweet to hear him purr in my ear, and at night he laid on my tummy and made it warm. Those are good things, said my mother, but I still only count 9. Yes, I said, but now I have another. Barney's in the ground, and he's helping grow flowers. You know, I said, that's a pretty nice job for a cat.
So I'm going to invite us into a movement prayer, and you're welcome to stay seated, or you can stand with me. And as you're thinking about standing, I just want to know, how many of you are allergic to cats? Okay, kind of a lot. And I would guess that roughly the same amount, maybe even more, feel a little bit itchy when we think about death and grief and loss, all of which can be a little bit like a cat. Sometimes you're walking along or moving along, and just out of nowhere, this cat comes and attacks you. So I'm gonna invite you to duck with me. It's hard when it comes out of nowhere. And sometimes you're just relaxed and you're lying in bed, and like a kitten, it bites your toes like this, and you want to kick it off. But sometimes also you're lying there and you're breathing. And warm, it comes and sits on your belly, like a heaviness, but comfortable. And other times, grief the cat comes and sits on your pillow, not disturbing you, but audible all the same. A little purr. And you can pet it. Just petting the little cat, which I know for those of you who are allergic, this all feels very hard to imagine. It's that way with grief also. When it's attacking you and biting your toes, it's hard to imagine making friends with this thing that sits alongside you, that will eventually let you sleep. Thank you all.
The next piece has a short refrain with 2 lines. Made of light. We'll sing it twice. I'll sing it now, and then we'll all join together. Made of light, made of light, made of light, made of light, all dissolves and falls into a dream. Made of light, made of light, love you so there's no place in between. Made of light, made of light, sink into a sea so deep and warm. Made of light, made of light, full of love that has no shape or form. Made of light, made of light, space and stars, the world and you and me. Made of light, made of light, as you grow just know that everything is made of light, made of light, all dissolves and falls into a dream.
You want a physicist to speak at your funeral. You want the physicist to talk to your grieving family about the conservation of energy, so that they will understand that your energy has not died. You want the physicist to remind your sobbing mother about the first law of thermodynamics, that no energy gets created in the universe and none is destroyed. You want your mother to know that all your energy, every vibration, every BTU of heat, every wave of every particle that was her beloved child remains with her in this world. You want the physicist to tell your weeping father that amid the energies of the cosmos, you gave as good as you got. And at one point, you'd hope the physicist would step down from the pulpit and walk to your broken-hearted spouse there in the pew and tell him that all the photons that ever bounced off your face, all the particles whose paths were interrupted by your smile, by the touch of your hair, hundreds of trillions of particles have raced off like children, their ways forever changed by you. And as your widow rocks in the arms of a loving family, may the physicist let her know that all the photons that bounced from you were gathered in the particle detectors that are her eyes. That those photons created within her constellations of electromagnetically charged neurons whose energy will go on forever. And the physicist will remind the congregation of how much all our energy is given off as heat. And he will tell them that the warmth that flowed through you in life is still there, still here, still a part of all that we are, even as we who mourn continue the heat of our own lives. You'll want the physicist to explain to those who loved you that they need not have faith. Let them know that they can measure, that scientists have measured precisely the conservation of energy and found it accurate, verifiable, and constant throughout space and time. According to the law of the conservation of energy, not a bit of you is gone. You're just less orderly. May it be so. Amen.
Someone recently asked for this to be read at their memorial, and they looked at me and squinted their eyes and said, "Yes, I want that. You want a physicist to speak at your funeral reading." No offense. None taken. Occasionally, ministers can be a humble bunch, and I want you to know that most of our service today is taken from a Unitarian Universalist, the Reverend Jennifer Nordstrom in Milwaukee. She writes that maybe nothing happens when you die. Some atheists and humanists, we find that comforting to know that there's truth, no delusions. Unitarian Universalism itself is agnostic about what happens after death and before life. We don't know. Our liberal religious tradition is committed to learning about the best of science, the best of humanity's wisdom. And well, right now, when we get into the mysteries of the universe, the best wisdom of the day is mysterious. Even nothing gets weird when we get down to the particle physics of it. Aaron Freeman, the person who wrote that reading that Reverend AJ just wrote, he talks about how a lot of physics groupies really think that quantum physics is the coolest kind of physics. And, well, quantum physics is so weird that the only way that you can convince anyone that you really know what you're talking about, that you've really studied it, is to just repeat again and again, "We don't know." We accept, and this is all of physics, really, but it's quantum, we accept that a rock is a cloud that is composed mostly of empty space with a few tiny particles inside. So what are we supposed to do, Freeman asks, with this information? How does a sixth or a seventh dimension inform my days? How does my head and my heart, my time, wrap around the fact that there's antimatter in the world. So I'm not a physicist, neither is Jennifer Nordstrom, but we like it. We like the science and love the weird quantum stuff. I love going around saying, I don't know, because I personally do not know, but also we as a species, we don't know. And well, what we do know is much smaller than what we don't know, and that part that we know about what we don't know is much smaller than what there is. So about 2/3 of the universe is dark energy. And we know that based on the expanding universe. And about 1/4 of the universe is dark matter. And this we can measure because we know how light wraps around dark matter. But that means that everything we know, all the regular matter, is about 5% of the universe. That's how much we think we can know. So there's 10 times as much dark matter as there is normal matter. And dark matter's mass, all that stuff that we can't really know, but we know about, its gravitational force is what binds everything else, binds us together. So nothing, which doesn't exist. Is that the nothing of empty space creating more space at the edge of the universe? Or is it the nothing that holds us together? Or is it the nothing that's the law of the conservation of energy, where after death, all of your energy, every vibration, every BTU of heat, every wave of every particle that was you is still there, just less organized, more weird, more mysterious? I don't know.
We don't know what happens after we die. And in our Unitarian Universalist tradition, that leads us to put an enormous value on what we do here and now. And so as First Unitarian, we live out our mission together, and we give generously from our time, our talent, and our treasure to fund that mission, to make that mission real. So members and friends support this congregation financially through regular recurring giving. And then on Sundays, we also take a shared collection to support the work and witness of Unitarian Universalism in Rochester. As part of the spiritual practice of generosity, 50 cents of every dollar given now to our offering will go to the Compassionate Friends. They are an organization that meets right here at First Unitarian and exists to provide friendship, understanding, and hope to those bereaved families that have experienced the death of a child, grandchild, or sibling. Using Church Center is the easiest way to give, but if you aren't set up with our app yet, you can also give by texting GIVE and the amount you would like to give to the number that will be on the screen, or by giving in the offering baskets that will now be passed. In the spirit of abundance and generosity, the offering will now be given and humbly received.
2017, a woman named Dolores Cruz lost her 24-year-old son Eric in a car accident. After his death, Dolores cried herself to sleep every night. Eventually, she found a way to some solace through guided meditations, where she would visualize walking down a path every night to meet him. Cruz writes, "I usually spent about 10 minutes guiding myself through a lovely pathway of trees, flowers, hills, and grasses that led to a gorgeous beach. I created details that included a table and 2 chairs overlooking the water where I could sit with Eric, have a latte, and talk. There we enjoyed the breeze and the scent of the ocean together. Every night, Dolores would imagine sitting at a table with her son and talking and laughing. It brought her comfort. She knew she was using her mind to find that comfort, and she was fine with that. It helped her go to sleep laughing instead of crying. And then one night, Dolores was too tired for the whole meditation. She told Eric she was going to just meet him at the table instead of going all the way down the path through the whole visualization. She started just imagining the table. But then, Dolores heard, out loud, right next to her ear, "I'm right here, Mom." And at that moment, everything changed. She said it was a surreal moment, a moment of peace that cannot be described in human words. She said, "I was enveloped and held by this love." It was a gift. It was a glimpse. It was a connection.
We ask big questions at church. As the one hymn goes, there's questions like, where do we come from? Who are we? Where are we going? These are 3 of the big 5 questions in theology, alongside why are we here and how should we live? Unitarian Universalism encourages us to explore these questions using the best wisdom and knowledge of human history and of today, as well as our personal experience. But admittedly, there is a lot more data for the questions, who are we and how should we live, than there is for the questions, where do we come from and where are we going? These 2 bookends of life, birth and death, are pretty mysterious. There are places that we can find data, like stories from people like Dolores Cruz, and other types of stories from people who have near-death experiences or people who have mysterious, powerful experiences of birth. We can look to the science of the Big Bang and the particle physics of nothing, but of course the physicists who know the most will tell you that there is exponentially more that we don't know than what we do know. And yet we ask and we answer these fundamental questions anyway, because the answers that we give, that is, our theology is at the core of how we think, which is at the core of how we feel, which is at the core of how we act. It affects our well-being, our relationships, and how we show up in the world. For some, there is great comfort in experiencing a connection with a loved one after death. For others, there is comfort and rest in believing that we return to nothing after death. For others still, there is peace in the questions, wonder in the not knowing of it. Sometimes not knowing can create space for curiosity, humility, open listening, and connection across difference. Comfort with mystery can make room for wonderful surprises.
We gather around our memory tree. We gather to hang the leaves of names known and unknown to us. Each of you has a leaf at your seat. And maybe there's a name on it, a name of someone in this congregation who has died this year. The name of someone who has died in state custody, in our immigration enforcement this year. A blank leaf for you to write the names of your beloveds. Or a leaf for all those who have died in ongoing pandemics, including COVID, whose unnecessary death has become a matter of politics over science. These are the names of those who will not be forgotten. who will be held in the collective care and memory of this congregation. And so as you write the names of those who have died, those you wish to hold in memory, I invite you to hold that leaf to your heart. When you're ready, I invite you to come forward to hang these leaves upon our memory tree. And if you see those with names in the seats around you, I invite you to bring those forward and hang them as well. This community holds all of these names in love. These are the names of those who have died in the past year. Rana Abbott,
Ramesh Amishand,
Abelardo Avellaneda Delgado,
Ismael Ayala Uribe,
Lorenzo Antonio Batres Vargas,
Connie Barrett,
Rick Berger,
James Bibles,
Marie Ange Blaise,
Douglas Blue III,
Janice Booth Stainton,
Billy Bradley,
Julianne Brown,
Carol Paulson Cardinale,
Joan Chapman,
Grandpa Chersnowski,
Maxim Cherniak,
Sharon Coleman,
Jim Cope,
Leo Cruz Silva,
Janet Dalkey,
Larry Denk,
Betty Evans,
Sarawit Gazayan Dejin,
Miguel Angel Garcia Hernandez,
Chow Fung Gua,
Bill Goff,
Genry Ruiz Guillen,
Norland Guzman Fuentes,
David Hall,
Carol Hondorf,
Brian Howden,
Pankaj Karan Singh Kataria,
Dennis Killian Benigno,
Diana March,
Dick McNamara,
Janice Miner,
Paul Miner,
Jean Mitchell,
Jesus Molina Vea,
Nun Nyap Nguyen,
Johnny Noviello,
John Lawrence Parker,
Ned Paulson,
Isidro Perez,
Tien Xuan Fan,
Oscar Duarte Rescon.
Brian Rayo Garzon.
Barbara Reich.
Santos Reyes Banegas.
Hassan Ali Mohammed Salah.
Jose Manuel Sanchez Castro.
William Django Shara.
Henry Schnepf.
Libby Simpson.
Maria Sinkford.
Nicholas Sloyer.
Archipelago Tibid.
Juan Alexis Teneo Martinez.
Maria Enriqueta Peña de Torres.
Mike Upton.
Loretta Wall.
Rabbi Arthur Wasco.
Sue Webster.
Jamie Whitbeck.
Norm Wilkinson.
Wabing Sia.
And when I rise, let me rise like a bird joyfully. And when I fall, let me fall like a leaf gracefully without regret. And when I rise, let me rise like a bird joyfully. And when I fall, let me fall like a leaf gracefully without regret. And when I rise, let me rise
A Unitarian Universalist shared this story with me about her mother's death. Both she and her mother were atheist humanists, and, well, they were close. And they both believed that nothing would happen at the end of life. And so when the woman's mother was dying, the woman was by her side. And they were both curious about what would happen next, because even when you believe something, well, you don't really know until you know, right? And so the woman was holding her mother's hand as her mother was dying, and she could see that her mother was slipping away. "What's happening, Mom?" she asked. She wondered. She could see that her mom's eyes were far away. She was still alive, but in that slow, quiet place, the in-between. And her mother took a minute to respond. And then the mother smiled, and she said, "Nothing to be afraid of." Nothing. Nothing which spontaneously erupts into everything, or that which is never created and never destroyed, or spaciousness that becomes more spaciousness, racing at the expanding edges of the universe, or every photon that has ever bounced off of your cheeks, racing off into the universe forever, or the cardinal, or the owl, or the eagle that mysteriously comes visiting, or the stories that are told by your grandchildren, or the story of your life living on in our collective story as long as storytellers live, or you, gathered in the dark matter that binds all of us together. You, the sun, you, the moon, you, the stars, Venus and Jupiter, Neptune and Mars. Friends, the beginning and the end are all still a beautiful mystery. But they are nothing, mysterious, erupting nothing to be afraid of. Amen.
How could I know I would have to leave you? How could I know I would hurt you so? You are the one I was born to love. Oh, how could I ever know? How could I ever know? How can I say to go on without me? How, when I know you still need me so? How can I say not to dream about me? How could I ever know? How could I ever know? Forgive me, can you forgive me? And hold me in your heart, and find some new way to love me now that we're apart. How could I know I would never hold you, never again in this world? But oh, sure as you breathe, I am there inside you. How could I ever know?
Thank you, Pablo. As we close our service together, if you are the type of person who, in your grief, a little more embodiment and movement and shared project together would be helpful, you know where I'm going with this, most of you. You can help us stack the chairs with arms, and other stacks of chairs without arms. But if that's not where you are, that is okay too. Many hands will make light work, and we have you covered. We have pastoral care associates in beige and rainbow stoles here in the sanctuary. If you would like someone to listen to you or to accompany you in your grief or anything that this service has brought up, we are here, we are ready to listen.
As we go to extinguish our chalice, one of you said to me earlier that when you're 80, you have more names, more leaves. And as I look around at this circle, when you're in community, we have more leaves, more names. Ours is a community of memory, of love, of hope. Ours is one where grief and the knowledge that each of us throughout birth and until death makes an impact in our life is a story that shall live as long as there are storytellers. So we extinguish our flame knowing that our community continues, but it is different because we have gathered together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
At age 90, Jane Goodall, the activist, educator, and adventurer who died earlier this month, said, "My next great adventure is going to be dying. There's either nothing or something. If there's nothing, then there's nothing, that's it. If there's something, I can't think of a greater adventure than finding out what it is." May it be so. Go in peace. We love you.